to talk about the numbers in the books. If you've been looking through the different books and you've noticed here and there, oh, this number and this number, what does that number mean? What is that? We're going to answer some of those questions.
Yeah, sometimes numbers mean something, and sometimes they're just numbers.
There.
I mean, like the page numbers at the bottom of the scenes, they're actual page numbers. They put those there. But in the book, in the stories, you'll see different number representations, and I like to have fun with that. Like the aircraft in JG,
which is coming out soon.
Yeah, the tail
JG.
number, is a hexadecimal number. That the tail number is a decimal number. If you put it in a scientific calculator, it'll come out hexadecimal. And so there's these different, we use decimal numbers, 1 through 10 decimal. It always makes me wonder why December is the 12th month. And if you look into it, you'll find out why. Somebody added a couple of months. But yeah, there's binary, which everyone seems to be ones and zeros. They seem to understand that. Everybody knows binary numbers, and that's what coders. That's how the machine language and whatnot. That's how software works. But there's octal, which is based on 8, which is again kind of a mystery. October, octal, 8. October is the 10th month.
Is it hex like 7?
Hexadecimal is a 16 basis.
Yeah, but like a hexagon is 7, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that how that works?
I think pentagons are 5-sided.
But in numbers, it's 16.
Yeah, 16 base.
Okay.
And so, basically you have the first 0 through 9, which is 10 numbers, believe it or not, because 0 is a placeholder. To the person who invented 0, thanks for nothing. Anyway, it's a placeholder. It kind of helps to differentiate between positive numbers and negative numbers. It doesn't have either value. Unless, of course, you attempt to, in software world, you attempt to divide by 0, you got a big problem. Your software will lock up and crash, and who knows what else will do wrong things. But hexadecimal is, and then the last 5 are letters, A, B, C, D, E, F. And so I like to have fun with it, And so the aircraft that in Greg.
Yeah, it's in Greg and JG.
In JG, they both fly aircraft, and they both have the cat symbol on the crown, the Kingdom Evangelist Traveler cat on the plane. And then, but the number that there is, I know what the number is. I just got to display it here. I'll read it to you. Because I don't have that kind of thing memorized. It's 43962. So that's a decimal number. If you put that in a scientific calculator, which you probably should have one on your computer, and type in 43962.
I think you can switch your phone over too.
Oh yeah, you can probably do it on your phone.
You put your phone like horizontal. It'll
yeah, you can do it on your phone. There's lots of technology out there you can use to do it, but whatever. Use your phone, use a laptop. Yeah, thank you for that. That's helpful. But yeah, it'll come out ABBA, ABBA, which is father, Arabic or word for father. And so the thing is that in JG, Greg, he's asking for clearance to depart. He's wanting to leave and go to his destination. He's requesting permission to depart runway Alpha, Bravo, Bravo, Alpha, runway 316. And so the clue that is given there is he's on a craft that's, the number represents ABBA. He's requesting departure on runway ABBA 316, and so it's just kind of a fun way to play with things. And so the child probably not going to be aware of that, but as they get older, they will.
Well, and there's some simpler ones.
Yeah.
Like you have 143 often in there, and 143 is.
My wife, when we first met, we were dating. She would 143 me. I'm like, what's that mean? And she would say, well, 1 is the letter I.
Because there's one letter in I.
Yeah, and love is 4
Has
letters,
4
so
letters.
that's 4, and then
U
is
is
3 letters, but I come to find out later that Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, he did 143 also, and so.
And there's another one. I have to look up what it is, but there's another I love you one, but it's not 143. It's something else. It's not I love you. It's something. It's I'll have to look it up. And let you know.
You just love it. And so, yeah, but you can have fun with that, and so, this is, but these type codes are easily broken, and so during World War II, they had the Indian tribe, they used their native language to communicate between groups, and they weren't able to crack that code because it was a language they didn't understand. And so, in Hebrew, there's gematria, and gematria is basically a language that people really don't understand. And so it's very complicated, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. But you can just rewrite things in gematria and communicate that. Now, it doesn't mean that someone won't figure it out. It's usually best to use a language that no one knows.
Well, and you have those all the time. Doesn't your work send those out? And it'll be like, figure out this sentence.
Oh, those are crypto quotes. Yeah, those are a little different. Yeah, but yeah, the letters are all jumbled up, and
and it'll be like, a number, and it has to switch to a letter.
Yeah.
We should do one of those for Fun Friday.
Yeah, that would be fun. That's a fun.
I'd have
thing
to make
do.
it though.
and so like in one of the ones that we do in the book Abel. He's handing out the crown of life. He has a white rock in his hand, and
I'll put it up on the screen.
Yeah, you can kind of sort of show it to them, I guess, on this. But so they at least know what scene it is I'm talking about, and this is
on page 32.
Yeah, and so what we did is we used a lot of monograms on the. As kind of a Laverne and Shirley takeoff thing for Abel. Each one of the characters has a letter of their name on their shirt, and so in this particular scene,
even though he looks kind of like, oh no, he doesn't look at all like him. I don't know why I thought he was. In the beginning, we have Gabriel.
Yeah, Gabriel. But his name in the Hebrew means Gable. But
because I thought it was Gabriel.
In English, we call him Gabriel, an angel. But and
he has a G on
it. Here's another fun part of this book that it's kind of hidden in here, and you're probably not going to pick it up too easy. But in the book, they're out there. He cuts the cable. He sees that, and here they are. They're running across the field. Okay, Mabel and Abel. So you see M-A. Okay, and then on the next page, they're there and they're praying, and you see G-A, M-A-G-A, make America godly again, folks. Okay, that's what that's about. And so these little things are hidden in here all over. Now I know that for some politicians it means something different, but that's not what we're talking about. So make
because we made this like a while ago. You wrote this a while ago before that was even like a saying.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But then when you get to this part in the book where he's handing out the crown of life thing here, you have I is Greek or whatever for Jesus, and so if you take the letters of that, and I have them written here, so I'm just going to read them off. You have iota, eta, sigma, omicron, upsilon, sigma. Okay, and so that spells the word Jesus, if you will, which we now know as Jesus in the English. The gematria value of that is 10 plus 8 plus 200 plus 70 plus 400 plus 200 equals 888. And so in Be Free, in the key...
it's 888. It's somewhere else. It's in another book, 888.
Yeah. Well...
or is it coming out?
It's probably coming out too.
Yeah, I've seen 888 somewhere else.
I like that number, and so I use it a lot. I use 888 a lot to communicate, just a subliminal message. And basically,
and not just the numbers, but also the clocks all of the clocks
Yeah.
have a special time.
Yeah, some of them are 143, which is easy, but then other ones are actually references to actual scripture references.
And like Jane, she wakes up in the morning at 3:16.
Because it's Jesus' custom to awaken early in the morning and go pray.
Yeah.
And so as Christians, that should be something that you're doing. As a Christian, you should.
Oh, yeah, like on the honeymoon, on their plane, it's 143 BF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
143 best friends or whatever, yeah. And so, kind of thing. But here's the whole fun part of it is that, I got Greg. He wakes me up at 3:50, 4 o'clock every morning.
The real Greg, not the
real
book that's
Greg,
coming
the cat,
out.
And so sometimes I try to let him out the night before. He just won't go. He comes in, but he wakes up. He's like he's the best alarm clock in the world. Well, at that point in time is when I have really some of my best prayer time and some of my best thought time. And so you might want to try to develop that kind of habit. I know it can be rough or whatever, but you don't have to pray for long. You don't have to pray for hours on hour, but you do need to focus in on the Creator and be grateful and thankful, for the fact that you can get up and let the cat out, right? A lot of people can't even do that. But so you think about the 888. The numerical value for Almighty God, which a lot of us know as El Shaddai, is 888. Okay, and so and then the I am who I am thing from Moses, that's 888 in Hebrew. Okay, and then the heavens declare the glory of God. That adds up to 888. So are you getting the gist of it here? I mean, so a lot of the words that you use in a lot of scriptures, like for instance, when we were doing Able. And, we had two boats there. One had the number 153 and the other one had the number 143. Well, the 143, and because we don't have a lot of time, we won't go into it, but you know what the 143 is. I love you. But the 153 has a lot of meaning also. And it's kind of, we did a podcast thing or a presentation on that. But basically, if you multiply those numbers together, it comes out to 153, which is, like you double one times one is 1, 5 times 5 is 25, 3 times 3, and so you multiply all that times the numbers and it'll add up to 153 also. And it's just kind of neat little things like that. But the 153 is symbolic of another deeper aspect of. Did you ever wonder why it was that when they cast their nets over, when they hauled them in, there were 153 fish? There's a reason for that, and God doesn't do anything by accident. Okay, and so, and then
He doesn't tell me everything either. Sometimes I'll ask, and he'll be like, "Oh, that's just a surprise. You need to, have something to look forward to and figure it out yourself."
I just want to drive you down to the Bible. I don't want to tell you what I think. I want you to go do some research on your own. Go read the Bible for yourself, and then and like you say, one of the things you can do is jumble up words, and like we do that, and so that's one of the things I'm doing with Alma right now. I took all of we talked about this in another podcast, but I took all the first letters of their name, and it comes out to June 5th Ram, and so, you can jumble them up and make words out of them. But you can do that with one of the scriptures that talks about, the virgin, in Isaiah 7:14, the virgin bearing a son. Well, that's 888. And so you have, all of these different, and then there's a lot more. And then
and then some of the numbers are just like birthdays and stuff.
Yeah,
sometimes toss in a birthday or anniversary number. Or
dates
something.
that are special to me, anniversary dates or birth dates or whatever. I put them in stories. Just hide them in there, and they're special to me. They don't really probably mean much to any of y'all, but unless of course that happens to be your birthday too, or your anniversary date, or your whatever.
But a lot of them are. 143 or Bible numbers, scriptures and things.
Yeah, I mean, especially when the fat cat, when we're talking about, eating clean foods, a lot of people use the dream that Peter had, or the 3 unclean events with the animals is, well, you eat anything, right? But Acts 15 kind of clarifies that a little better if you want to read that. It's called a letter to the Gentiles, and I never really ever hear anybody read about the letter to the Gentiles in the Gentile church because they want to do whatever. But a lot of times people confuse Peter with the rock that and I'm sure this comes out of one of the early religions, and we won't mention that said that Peter was the foundation. But Peter, actually, the word means pebble. It's a small rock. It's not like a big rock. Jesus himself is the rock, and so that's what the Christianity is built on. It's built on Jesus, not built on one of the
Small
apostles or disciples or anything of that nature. But there's a reference to that, and it says little rock, and it has a direction, and it has Matthew, and it has the certain number of miles to Little Rock, but it says mile one, some number 18 something or whatever. But that's the verse. You go look at Matthew chapter 18 verse whatever, and it tells you, I'll build my church on the rock and not a pebble. But yeah, not taking anything away from Peter. He was a great person. I mean, he was awesome. Example to us all.
Yeah, it's Matthew 16:18.
Yeah, 16:18. So it's Matthew chapter 16 verse 18. And so there's little things like that hidden all in different, and it could be years if you stumble across that or never, maybe, I don't know. But it's got to get your interest when you're sitting there looking at the arrow pointing to Healthy Mountain, and then there's this other thing pointing to Little Rock. So it's, surely you might want to try to figure that out. But, sometimes it's not that obvious, and I don't mind explaining it. But let's just kind of give you a little bit of a background behind some of the numbers. As you go through these stories, there'll be other numbers and other little clues along the way.
Yeah. And I've been adding some in. I actually been taking more of a part. I like to not get into the actual editing stuff so that I'm like an unbiased party.
Yeah.
When it gets to, and I can look at it with fresh eyes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And so, but I've been adding in some my own thoughts.
Well, and that's the good thing. It helps to have different points of view. I mean, because it's just, I do what I do, and sometimes, like you say, it's like, wow.
Well, even like Grace, we're still working on Grace. It's gonna be out.
Well, hopefully we'll be working on it before the end of the year.
But I started that back in like November, December last year, and you've helped add thoughts that are making it more whole and complete, not just a simple topic.
Yeah, because when it comes to grace, it's a complicated subject, and you don't want to mislead anybody. You don't want a child or an adult to think, oh, this is all I have to do, which is, there's more to it than that.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it. Grace is, like I've said before, the greatest 6 words in the English language. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. It's just like a wonderful thing that grace
that's
is
amazing, Grace.
Yeah, that's one of the front lines we came up with. That's amazing.
Grace, because one of the characters, Grace.
Yeah, so one of the kids is going,
That's amazing.
She does something.
Grace.
That's so funny. But, we tried to and put
There's an inside joke for all of the books.
Yeah, so there's always some kind of little thing, in the one I'm talking about right now with the veil, he meets Miss Lael, and he asks from where she hails, and she says, I hail from Yale. And then he whispers to her, "Don't say it so loud," So, but it's kind
which is all an inside joke of its own.
Yeah, which is Anyway, it's about evolution and stuff, and so once you see the book, you'll understand a little bit more about that. But it's a good topic, and hopefully
keep an eye out on the different numbers. See what you can see in the book. See if you find something neat, and let us know. So like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. Thank you very much.